So it's to get nurses that will take less money and we will get shit care? Could. So when I first encountered this, and I didn't know at the time that it was trafficking, it was at a nursing home, and I had just graduated nursing school, and I only made it through orientation because I realized I can't come out of nursing school and handle 40 patients. But the entire nursing home was all nurses from the Philippines. And they didn't seem to like Americans. They seemed very unhappy. They all traveled together to and from work. And then I had asked somebody there, like, that was an American, but was in more of an administrator role. And she had said, well, they're here on a program. And I'm like, oh, but I thought, well, they look so unhappy. Then when I learned about trafficking a few years ago, I learned that for labor trafficking, many times what happens is they get tricked. So the Philippines won't pay nurses anything because globalists decimated their country. The globalists are responsible for all of the problems in the world. They're the responsible. So the globalists, the same people at the UN that decimate the Philippines, or keep that country dirt poor, or can't pay to have a good healthcare system because globalists stand in the way of it. They get those cheap nurses because to those nurses, it's not that they're cheap, it's that to them what nurses make in America would seem like a lot compared to what they pay. So then Canada's the biggest exporter of Philippine nurses, actually. But I just did an article, or not did it, but I read an article not too long ago about how the Philippines is telling other countries, stop taking our nurses. Like, our healthcare system is falling apart. Like, literally, they can't get to poor areas. They do not, so they're ruining that country. So no nurse should be supporting global nurse migration. Okay? Because even though you think you're helping, and anybody at the UN is not trying to help America, okay? If people are still disillusioned, I mean, I've never trusted the fucking UN, okay? The UN has, because they've never have a good track record. They are never about peace. They're blue helmet police, which aren't even police. They're thugs in blue helmets, have raped so many women across, especially the third world countries, that it is a disgrace to the nursing profession here in America for any effing American nurse to go sit on the board anywhere at the UN. I know I'm really harsh about that, but no nurse, in my opinion, that's ethical should be hanging out at the UN with a bunch of communist countries or the UN in general. Their blue helmet thugs have hurt so many women and children. So it's a disgrace, but then it's no wonder that the nursing profession here has fallen to pieces. It is a train wreck in every way. I mean, for decades, nurses have been treated like shit, have been left holding the bag while leadership gets away with the worst shit, the worst abuses. So you think they wouldn't traffic people here? Look, labor trafficking is a real thing. And our whole visa program needs to be looked at. Because trafficking is as simple as this. Say you're a nurse in the Philippines, you can't make any money there, or you can't get a job because they don't have the money to pay you. Then somebody comes along, some charmer, and says, yeah, we can get you to America. We can help you. We're with the International Migration of Nurses. We'll help you get a job in America. You can make this kind of money. And then it sounds good to them because it's definitely more money than what they'd make in their own country. But then they get here and all of a sudden find some of the deal wasn't quite the way it was presented to them. They get stuck having to work for some hospital or some nursing home or whatever it is for a couple of years because their labor trafficker has bound them into a contract, and they're afraid to speak up about it because they've been made afraid they're going to go to jail if they say, no, this is what happened. So they just try to work through the contract so that they can get out and then just get whatever job they want to, or maybe even go back home. But we have a we don't have a nursing shortage, first of all. There's not a nursing shortage. This is how bad American Nurses Association has failed. And they're the key here because they're the link to the UN through global, it's because they're all tied together. And the ANCC, who gives nurses license, and American Nurses Association are like, they're, two peas in the same pot. So the problem here is that their goals, American Nurses Association, was to retain nurses. The problem is, I guess the nurses they want to retain are ones that are not American. So then that's where your health equity crap comes in, because you can't be biased. Yeah, it can't be biased that you want to hire American workers. And this has nothing to do with it's the illegal immigration. It's the labor trafficking is illegal. But if you don't know about it and that person doesn't speak up about it, like the Philippine nurses that I saw in that nursing home, you would never be the wiser. But they weren't happy to be here because they had been tricked. They wouldn't talk. They wouldn't say much to you. They seemed like they hated you if you were American. So what do you think the care is going to be like in that case? Especially if they were tricked. So it's the worst thing to do for healthcare in this country. But then because it's hidden behind all this we have all of these organizations that make sure it's ethical. These organizations aren't even ethical to realize they shouldn't even be aligned with the United Nations. Not any nurse organization. I mean, how many young girls have to be brutalized by the Blue Helmet UN thugs for nurses over at the International Nurse Council to maybe leave there and show that they have some integrity? So to a foreign nurse, yes, it would seem like coming here would be making a lot of money, but it's still less money for the hospital, because most nurses here are fed up and we want what we deserve to be paid. But that's never going to happen. I mean, look at what the CEOs will get involved in. I mean, with all the videos I've done about these hospital CEOs and what they've done to our country. I mean, they're not elected to anything, yet they've made with their lobbyists at American Medical Association and American Nursing Association. That's how we get this bullshit. American Nurses Association should never, I've said this for a while, never have a seat at the table again. But you'll never hear any politician call them out. Nor will you hear any politician call American Nurses Association. Not any Republican, not any Democrat, because they get money from them. And then they let their lobbyists dictate the standard of care in this country, and then they make all these different non-governmental organizations to make it look like they're a legit, and we're all about ethical migration of nurses. No, they should just come out and say they're about trafficking nurses. It's this spin around we're the international center for nurse migration. No, you're the international center of nurse trafficking. I mean, maybe some nurses come here and it's in some legit fashion, and I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming the nurses. I mean, it's very simple here. Globalists have decimated the world. Who are globalists? Well, they're your corporate. And I've seen what scumbags they are. I've read all just yesterday about the kind of stuff with these hospital mergers, how horrible these CEOs are. And people just can't even imagine that. No, they would know. They're business experts. They're finance experts. No, they're assholes. I mean, I'm just being real about it. They're assholes. They only care about money and power. And when you live your entire life only giving a shit about your status at the UN or how many letters you have after your name, and you think that somehow makes you someone smart, no, it makes you someone that if you're at the UN with a bunch of traffickers and a bunch of rapists that they call the UN peacekeepers, then it shows that you're the problem with the nursing profession, not you. And I'm not yelling at you. I'm just saying. My guess is yes. They want trafficked labor. That is the reason why American Nurses Association and all the associations of nursing seem to be more focused on getting trafficked labor here, but saying it's under some ethical way, than they want to have hospitals hire American nurses.